October 2025 might be the biggest gaming month we've had in years. 8 massive releases dropping in just 4 weeks. Let's dive into the history, the dev stories, and I'll give you my verdict on each one. If I like a game, it's prescribed. If I really don't, it suffers a flatline. Somewhere in the middle, that's under observation. Could be great, but reviews and gameplay will decide its fate. And if a game looks good, but just isn't for me, I'll mark it for specialist referral. Let's go! Ghost of Yotei is developed by Sucker Punch Productions, the studio behind Ghost of Tsushima in 2020. It's set over 300 years later, in 1603, on Hokkaido around Mount Yotei. The protagonist is Atsu, a new character, and the game is designed as a standalone story. I've never played Ghost of Tsushima, but I have watched a few hours of gameplay from the PS5 version, and I loved it. What Ghost of Tsushima did so well is blend a familiar Assassin's Creed-like formula with a vibrant setting and more action-heavy combat. Yotei looks to be more of the same, but there have been some key changes that I think will set it apart from Tsushima. Atsu's weapon variety is greatly expanded, with options for firearms this time around. On top of that, the game is handling NPC stories in a unique way by having them visit your camp throughout the story. That's a nice quality of life feature that I think will encourage more exploration as the story progresses, because you're not forced to backtrack to a far-off town. The graphical fidelity is also superb, and while graphics are definitely not the most important part of a game, they certainly help boost the feeling of immersion and further the cinematic experience. All in all, I'm really excited for this game, and I hope to get my hands on it whenever I find the time. Kingmakers is a new IP from Redemption Road Games, published by tinyBuild. It blends massive medieval battles with modern weapons. Players can fight directly, command armies, or build fortifications, and it's launching in early access in October. This game looks like a lot of fun on the surface. Seeing a car tear up a medieval battlefield is pure chaos, but my worry with this game is if there's anything under the hood that'll keep me coming back. The inclusion of a co-op story is promising, but time will tell if the narrative is engaging enough to keep players hooked. Ultimately, mark me down as curious, but not quite sold on this one. I'll check back in on it once it drops on consoles. The Painkiller series began in 2004, developed by People Can Fly, known for gothic, arena-style levels. The reboot is being developed by Anshar Studios, with 3D Realms and Saber Interactive publishing for PC and next-gen consoles. The trailer for this one looked pretty cool, but the extended gameplay was really disappointing. The slow pacing and generic gothic visuals failed to capture the gritty energy of the original. Painkiller gets a definite flatline. This is being developed by multiple studios merged into Battlefield Studios. DICE leads multiplayer, Criterion and Motive handle single player, Ripple Effect is also involved. Focus is console first to improve stability after the issues of Battlefield 2042. I'm really not too enthusiastic about military shooters because it feels to me like they die off so quickly. I've heard some people say that they don't see the need for Battlefield when Call of Duty exists, but I have to disagree. I like that Battlefield focuses more on massive and expansive levels with the twist of destructible environments. If these games had longer life cycles, I'd be tempted to send this for specialist referral, but because they usually die after only a couple of months, I'm giving this one an unfortunate flatline. Developed by Game Freak and directed by Haruka Tochigi, Legends ZA is set in Lumio City, with new battle mechanics, returning mega evolutions, and an open world structure. I'm not a big Pokemon fan, but the Legends series is a huge standout amongst the recent titles. ZA looks fun for fans and continues a promising evolution of the series, despite the potential for more in the visuals and performance department. I'll mark this one for specialist referral. Keeper is a new IP from Double Fine Productions, the makers of Psychonauts. It's a third-person puzzle adventure set on a mysterious island with a lighthouse, using wordless storytelling and environmental puzzles. This game is totally not what I would have expected as Double Fine's next project. Psychonauts 2 is one of the best games of this generation, because it blended extremely unique visuals with a poignant and sincere story about mental health and human connection. Keeper's choice to have no words is bold, but it might rob the game of masterpiece potential. I'll put Keeper under observation. Time will tell if this unique premise lands just right. Developed by Team Ninja and Platinum Games, Ninja Gaiden 4 is the first mainline entry since 2012. We have a new protagonist called Yakumo, but Ryu Hayabusa from the original games is still a central figure. The game has added traversal mechanics like wires and rails to keep the tension high outside of combat. I'm quite excited about Ninja Gaiden 4. The visuals look incredible, and I love the UI too. The combat is flashy and brutal, and the difficulty will be right up my alley as a fan of games like Lies of P. I may not have bought this game at full price, but Ninja Gaiden Gaiden 4 is dropping directly onto Game Pass, which means this game is most certainly prescribed. The Outer Worlds 2 is developed by Obsidian Entertainment as a standalone story set in a new star system called Arcadia with a new cast of characters. The game retains its signature humour while adding more gadgets, weapon types, and a third-person mode so you can play your way. It was initially announced with a higher price point of $79.99, but was later adjusted down to $69.99 after community backlash. I recently played Cyberpunk 2077, which had a rough launch but has some subtle features that really ramp up the immersion. In dialogue, characters dynamically move around a room, fidget with devices or weapons, and you can freely move the camera to soak in the environment. The Outer Worlds 2 still uses fixed camera angles during conversations, which don't pull you in as much. I'm really intrigued by the gameplay changes, especially the expanded traits and skill selection, but the jury's still out on the story and decision-making aspects. I'd love for Obsidian to showcase a side mission that folds into the main story, like a new companion or a more fleshed out faction reputation system. I'll tentatively prescribe the Outer Worlds 2. I'm not totally sold on it, but I'll be there on day one for some over-the-top action fun, and hopefully something deeper beneath the surface. Alright, let's close out this October gaming checkup with a full diagnosis. I went through a lot of games, so let's see where they all landed. Prescribed, these are the ones that get my strongest recommendation. We've got Ghost of Yotei, which takes that Ghost of Tsushima foundation and expands it with firearms, camp-based NPC storytelling, and stunning visuals. Then, Ninja Gaiden 4. The brutal, flashy combat and Game Pass availability make it an easy win. And finally, The Outer Worlds 2, which I'm tentatively prescribing. It's not looking perfect, but the action, humour, and expanded systems mean I'll be there on day one. Specialist referral. This is for the games that aren't exactly for me, but I can clearly see the value for fans. And that's where Pokemon Legends ZA lands. Even if I'm not going to play, the return of Mega Evolutions and a fresh setting are big steps for the series. Under observation. These are the ones I'm keeping a close eye on. Kingmakers has chaotic medieval gunfights that look hilarious, but I need to see if the fun actually lasts beyond that initial novelty. And Keeper, Double Fine's bold, wordless puzzle adventure. It could be brilliant or it could fall flat. Time will tell. And finally, Flatline. Sadly, not everything makes it through the checkup, and Painkiller just didn't capture the gritty speed that made the series great, and Battlefield 6 feels like it's going to suffer the same short multiplayer lifespan as other modern shooters. For me, both are essentially DOA. And now onto the big one, the Clinician's Choice, my pick for what I think is going to be the best game for this month. This month, the honour goes to Ghost of Yotei. It builds on the cinematic brilliance of Tsushima with meaningful gameplay innovations, and it looks absolutely breathtaking. If there's one prescription to fill this October, this is the one. That's my October gaming checkup. Which of these made it onto your prescription list? Let me know your takes in the comments. I'd love to see what you're all playing and what you're hyped for. I've got videos on my Instagram and TikTok, and if you want to support the channel and get some behind the scenes content, definitely check out my Patreon. Every bit helps me keep making these breakdowns for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.